Do me a favor, everybody. Come on in, give the video a like and a thumbs up, and we are gonna get to rolling here on the program. The news coming out of Chicago with the release of the body worn video cameras by Chicago police that reveals the very horrific details pertaining to the cop murder of 26-year-old Dexter Reed. He was in his car, in his SUV, when he was pulled over by Chicago police on March the 21st through the Humboldt Park neighborhood. And the video that has been released, let me be clear here. You will not be triggered by any videos of police lynchings. I think I have evolved beyond that. I'm grown out of that. I can't subject myself to it, and I can't subject y'all to it. It's no different than if cameras were rolling in 1919, the red summer, right? And if the cameras were rolling when black people were hanging from trees, like, did you want to see those clips pop up on your timeline? Absolutely not. So when police murder us, it definitely has the same lynching energy. So I choose not to show it, but I have seen it, and the video is being widely circulated. And let me tell you what it shows. So it shows Dexter Reed in the driver's seat, alone in his vehicle, when he is approached by five plainclothes officers discovered to be from Chicago police's like tactical unit in the area. And he's approached by these cops, and he has his window partially rolled down, but then he rolls his window up. And then all of a sudden, these cops get real aggressive and begin yelling at him, swearing at him. Roll down your fucking window. Roll down your fucking window. Open the door. Open the door. So this goes on for several seconds. And you see officers trying to yank at that door handle, trying to open the door. And I'm putting myself put yourself in the shoes of this young person, if you could, for a second. Number one, the police officers, it's five of them. And can I please ask, and I do have details about why he was stopped, or at least why the police say he was stopped, because the COPA, the Community Oversight for Police Accountability, the watchdog group allegedly overseeing Chicago police, not only released the body cam video, but released the report. And in the report, it details, or it says that Chicago police pulled over Dexter Reed because they observed him not wearing his seatbelt, right? Why does it take five cops to effect a traffic stop for not wearing a seatbelt? Five fucking cops. Why does it take five cops for one person not wearing their seatbelt? This is part of the cop playbook, the bullshit engagement of these traffic stops, these pretextual stops for non-moving violations. I suppose not wearing your seatbelt is but did he run a red light? Was he speeding? Did he blaze through a crosswalk? I'm sorry, it takes five cops to pull somebody over for not wearing a seatbelt. Okay, so there's that. So, and then in very short order on the body cam video, allegedly one cop hollers out because what all the reports say so far is that Dexter Reed allegedly shot through the glass of his vehicle that had all the windows rolled up and hit an officer in the forearm who had been moments earlier yanking at the passenger side door handle. And they allege that Dexter shot this cop in the arm. There's that. We're going to come back to that. So after this officer falls back in pain, injured, the rest of the cops open fire. And they fire 96 bullets into Dexter's vehicle in 41 seconds. At some point, Dexter actually gets out of the vehicle completely unarmed. And after he stumbles towards the back of the car, he is shot 3 more times. After he's down, after it is obvious that he is fatally injured and no weapons are in his hand once he exits the vehicle and walks towards the back of it. And after he falls, he's shot 3 additional times. Chicago Police Department, everybody. So the COPA, the Community Oversight for Police Accountability, had a press conference today. Dexter's family also spoke. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx was there. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson also there. But I have a lot of questions, everybody. Hold on, let me get to the article. So, Will, let's go to the Block Club Chicago piece, because even with Block Club, which is an independent media organization out of Chicago, because I do like to support the independent media sites, but even this smacks of propaganda, because the headline, it says Dexter Reed shot cop before officers returned fire 96 times, watchdog says. Now, okay, I'm gonna give Block Club a little latitude here, because this is what the watchdog group says. And I have to call shenanigans on this, everybody. I'm not 100% sure nor certain that Dexter Reed fired his weapon. So, to be clear, the police did say they did find a gun on the seat. I'm not certain if it was the driver's seat or the passenger seat of the vehicle. And they said they found an empty magazine. Again, those things do not necessarily denote to me that this man fired his weapon. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this young man at 26, living in Chicago, absolutely knows that an encounter with the cops can immediately turn into a fatal one. So I am dubious that Dexter Reed would have fired any shots at all, let alone the first shot. Okay. I'm very dubious about that. And some would push back, well, Kim, how did the one officer get shot in the arm? Baby, I don't fucking know. But here's what I do know. I know that the cops lie all the time. They lie all the time. Let's stick in Chicago if we could for a second. 10 years ago, almost coming up to the month, teenager Laquan McDonald shot 16 times by Chicago police, Jason Van Dyke. They allege that the Laquan McDonald was lunging at cops with a knife up until the body cam come out, and it actually showed Laquan McDonald walking away from police. Did he have something in his hand? He sure did. Was he walking toward police? He sure the fuck was not. And he received 16 shots and was murdered, executed by Chicago police. Couple years, not even a couple years later. How about a couple years ago? 12-year-old Adam Toledo being chased on foot by Chicago police. Adam was alleged to have a gun in his hand. The police officer said that Adam had the gun in his hand when he shot Adam. 12-year-old Adam Toledo shot him in the chest, killing him. But when the body cam video came out, in fact, it showed 12-year-old Adam with nothing in his hands and his hands up as the officer opened fire. So you have to excuse me. And these are just two examples, baby. We could be here all hour talking about Chicago police all by themselves, their levels of corruption, the number of people, especially Black and brown people, that they have framed and put behind bars for decades, people who were innocent. The black sites that Chicago police are documented to have operated, where people suspected or just who had the misfortune of being kidnapped off the street by the police were subjected to torture. Some of them even subjected to serious injuries, until the Chicago police got the answers or coerced confessions out of them that they were seeking. So I'm sorry, I have to call bullshit on the story proffered by the cops, because first and foremostly, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And I know we would all, not we all, when I say we all, I mean the we and the all of broader racist, anti-Black American society. The broader swath of American society would love to find it easy to believe that this young Black man, so full of rage and he's armed, of course, why would he not open fire on cops? No, I don't buy it. So let's actually pick up the story. Let's pick it up from when it was first reported versus to what we know now. So we're going to go to the ABC affiliate in Chicago who reported this when it happened back in late March. And we're also going to hear a bit in this clip from some of Dexter Reed's family members. And let me give the trigger warning and the content warning for that, because the pain that we continuously see played out coming from all too often Black families when it comes to being on the receiving end of police brutality and police violence, and the smearing of the murder victim, that is part and parcel for how police end up trying to change the narrative to adjust the presented set of facts to defend their bullshit, right? So let me give the content warning for grief and sadness expressed by the family of Dexter Reed. Let's take a look at the package.
Video shared on the Citizen app captured the barrage of gunfire, sounds of more than 24 gunshots, all from a Thursday night shootout involving police.
And I don't know why this happened to my brother, because he was such a beautiful person.
Portia Banks' brother, 26-year-old Dexter Reed, was killed in the shootout. Chicago police say officers pulled the car over just after 6 p.m. in the 3800 block of West Ferdinand. While officers were by the car, there was an exchange of gunfire. Aerials of the scene from Chopper 7 show a white SUV riddled with bullet holes. Police say an officer was shot in the wrist, while Reed was rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he later died.
And I hate that my family had to go through this, because we already go through enough. And I hate this for my mom, because I don't know if she could be able to take this pain on her heart.
Banks spoke with her brother just minutes before the shooting. She says he played basketball at Morton College in Cicero, describing him as a smart, outspoken young man. She and their family now searching for answers.
I just want some answers. I just want some answers as to why was he stopped? What was the purpose of him being stopped? Because obviously if he was stopped, what did it lead to him be losing his life when he was just on his way to try and get some brakes for his car?
Now, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability is handling the investigation from here, while the officers involved have been placed on administrative leave.
My apologies if I was misnaming COPA, the Civilian Office for Police Accountability. I think I called it Community Oversight for Police Accountability. So my apologies for that mistake. But yeah, it's devastating, you guys. And I hope we don't have no, well, why didn't he comply ass faces in the fucking chat, because let me explain. let me tell you what's up here, baby. This only happens to Black people and people of color in America, okay? There are millions, and that might be hyperbole, but there are many dozens, if not hundreds or thousands, of videos from this country where white folks, belligerent, non-compliant, aggressive, attacking, shooting at, all of the shit that Black people get murdered for, white folks are allowed to do these things to police and have every expectation of being taken alive. You don't believe me? Go look at one of my recent videos about Larry Acree out of Independence, Missouri, who was able to kill 2 people, one of them being a cop. He shot 2 other cops and was taken alive. Dexter Reed didn't roll down his window fast enough. And I'm sorry, hold on. So in this piece, in the Block Club Chicago piece, the COPA, the Civilian Oversight, the whatever for police accountability, they admit in the report that it is not clear how many shots, if any, that Dexter Reed is alleged to have shot at the police. Well, we only have the police version of events. We have to call bullshit and be extremely skeptical of the set of facts that police offer up first. Because as we have proven on this show time and time again, the first retelling of the story coming from the cops, the first official narrative, statement, order of events that the police say happened, it's always fucking bullshit, because they lie. They lie. And it galls me sometimes to hear mainstream media outlets, be them the local news, local print publications, national news. Like they are so quick to just tell you what the police said, and they never give the caveat that this particular police department, insert any police department across the country, but this particular police department has a history of presenting false facts when it involves officers murdering residents in this community, right? And you can insert Chicago, you can insert PG County, you can insert NYPD, you can insert motherfucking Indianola, Mississippi, which we gonna get to. Like, this is how they operate. And for the media to still in a sort of deferential and default way to always ascribe some sort of credibility to the police accounting of events is part of the reason why America is absolutely a fascist country, baby, because the word of the state, no matter how many times, even the word of the agents of the state, no matter how many times they have been demonstrated and proven liars, they are still afforded all the deference, all the credibility. Well, the police said, fuck the police. How many times do these cops have to lie to you? How many times do these departments have to lie to you before you're going to figure out that they some fucking liars? There's no reason 96 shots had to be fired at this young man. No reason whatsoever. And a little bit more about Dexter Reed. As you heard there, his family said that he went to Morton College in Cicero, where Dexter received his associate's degree. Dexter had aspirations of being a sports broadcaster. Dexter had only recently purchased that SUV days prior. He told his mama he was going out for a ride, and they killed him. It's his mother's direct quote. So, Dexter Reed's attorney is urging Kim Fox's office, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, to investigate criminal charges against these officers. 4 of the officers have been placed on paid administrative leave for at least a 30-day period, which, I mean, whoo, let's not put these proven wannabe murderous cops back on the street, because God knows, we know the issue in Chicago is motherfuckers not wearing a goddamn seatbelt. Am I right or am I wrong, everybody? I mean, that's the crime issue du jour is inappropriate seatbelt usage. This is what we need 5 police officers to be stopping motorists to do. Part of the reason, again, everybody, I want us to continue to sow as much mistrust, and I'm saying this dead ass, like I can't say the shit but only so straight. When I hear and see clips of Black folks of varying ages demanding more police presence in their neighborhoods, I'm like, these are exactly the people that you and I need to be reaching. These are the exact people that we need to point out to them that, hey, you in West Side of Chicago, or you in PG County, Maryland, or you in Northeast DC, you keep calling for more cops. When has there never been an abundance of police in your neighborhood, in your communities? The presence of cops does not denote safety. In fact, some of the most safest places in America don't have very many cops at all. At all, because in fact, police themselves are the criminal element, as we see. They are terrorizing people for not wearing their seatbelts. This is not the democracy that I want to live in, okay? And especially when this violence, and not to say that I want cops to start killing whites at the same level. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the violence is not distributed evenly, okay? It's not distributed evenly. So I'm not saying I want cops to start killing whites at the same level that they kill blacks. How about you don't kill Black people the same way you don't kill white people? That's what I'm asking for. That's what I'm demanding. So whatever training techniques that these cops that patrol white areas, by and large, manage, what all the same kinds of restraint and understanding under stressful circumstances and situations, all the understanding that they show white folks, I just want the cops to show the black folks that too. And I'm certain that it'll be difficult to find a comparable story pertaining to police violence in which a white person was shot at almost 100 times in less than a minute for ultimately not wearing their seatbelt. That's the whole reason that this young man was pulled over. So, this is a story that we will continue to follow out of Chicago. And unfortunately, guys, like I said, the family gave a press conference today, and as you saw how emotional Dexter's sister was, his mother was as emotional. And I didn't want to subject you all to that because even still, as you know, we cover these stories somewhat often because they come up often, right? And I hate the fact that black families have to perform all of this grief, all of this trauma in front of rolling cameras, in front of reporters shouting questions in order for something to happen. Because when the families of police brutality victims stay quiet, nothing happens on their case, right? Unless the case is taken up by local activists or community groups that will also join in the chorus calling or demanding for justice. But if the circumstances are murky, i.e., the person murdered has a gun in their possession, because we know somehow black folks, particularly black men in America, are like the demographic that police seem to fear for their lives just knowing a black man has a gun at the reach. You know what I'm saying? They don't get bothered when Cody it got the pickup loaded with all of his hunting shit, right? Like Cody be like, "Yeah, I got the Ruger, I got the motherfucking shotgun, I got the pistol, I got the rifle, got all that shit." And they be like, "Oh, okay, cool, man. You get anything?" Right? It's all casual conversation. But let a black person pop up, also armed, it's immediate fear for their life. The same thing that happened with that young man whose story we recently covered out of DC, who was murdered a couple of years ago, and the cop just pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter for shooting him 10 times. So, and he didn't point a gun. He just had one in his waistband and they saw it, and that was enough for cops to open fire. So, guys, Dexter Reed Jr., and let me say this again. I want people to be very selective and intentional and conscious about how and where and when, if ever, you decide to show videos of police murders, particularly on the timeline, right? Particularly whatever socials you prefer. It's just it is instant re-traumatization, right? It's instant, because even though these are new victims, these are new names, these are folks that now have the unfortunate notoriety of being a hashtag of police violence. Please understand that you are impacted by looking at that trauma, and others are impacted by looking at that trauma, whether or not they want to see it or chose to see it or not. I did click on the video because I was trying to decide, was there any parts of the video that I was comfortable with sharing? And ultimately, the decision came back to no. Even the portion of the video where the cops are screaming at him, it was threatening. It was terrifying. Maybe it terrified me because I knew what was coming next, or it was terrifying just putting myself in Dexter's shoes, where you have these armed fucking pigs surrounding his car, demanding that he get out the car. And there's no question that Dexter was correct to, number one, be afraid, to have a sense of fight or flight. If he did reach for his pistol, I'm sure it was instinctual. He knew that he was being surrounded by a group of willing and trained would-be murderers. So what's he supposed to do? Let them brutalize him? Let them attack him, let them murder him. Unfortunately, that's what ultimately happened. But put yourself in it. Like, what are his options? Well, why didn't he just comply? Well, them cops was going to fuck him up as soon as he stepped foot out of that truck. And their posture and commands were making that very, very clear. So I want to know why, not only in the city of Chicago, but yes, including the city of Chicago, why does it sometimes or oftentimes take 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 police to effect traffic stops? This does not keep the community safe. Statistics bear that out. When police do these pretextual traffic stops, they're looking for contraband, they're looking for guns, they're looking for drugs. Not all the time do they find these things, but the opportunity is always there for the shit to go left, as it did in this circumstance. But it only seems to go left when the race and gender are that of Black and male, usually.